most YouTubers on the D&D side of things like to try and find the most just the most broken characters, really, or the most broken, most powerful builds or whatever. Uh, but yeah, not me. We're going to attempt to find the worst possible level 20 character, and I think I have it for you here. But I encourage you all to leave down in in the comment section whatever worst character you can make, pretty much, in D&D. Yeah. Though a few rules, we're not going to be using any homebrew, any unearthed arcana, but yeah. Additionally, I'm not allowing the use of just making a character blind, pretty much, because that's just. I mean, that's just like it's too easy if you allow that. You make them blind. And like, because a blind character can't do too much unless they have like Daredevil vision, I guess. Uh, yeah, I mean that's just the easy way out. But we're not taking that easy way out. Um, and yeah, let's delve into it. And yeah. So everyone has a different method of rolling for stats. Personally, I use the 4d6 drop the lowest method for rolling stats. However, today we're going to go for the, well, we're going to go for that, but we're going to take the lowest possible result from that roll, which is 4 ones. And yes, that makes all of our stats, from base without adding racial bonuses to it, 3, which gives them a -4 bonus, which is pretty bad. Pretty bad, that's some stuff you see on a slime. So the next thing is you're gonna want to talk to your DM, about, the setting, what it's gonna be, what the idea of the campaign is gonna be, whatever, one shot, doesn't matter. You're gonna want to talk to the DM about it. And if it is I mean, I have 2 options, in mind for this, that, you can pick for whatever. Really, they're up to you. Mainly. And if the campaign is, just away from water, like a desert or whatever, then I'd recommend going for the Locathah. They have a ton of stuff, but it doesn't really matter too much, because what they do have is limited amphibious, which basically requires that you have to be in water, fully submerged every 4 hours, or you will suffocate, which, isn't great. However, they do have natural armor, which basically means that they have 12 plus their dexterity modifier, AC, even when they're wearing armor, especially if that armor gives you lower AC. So that still applies in that case. So with their bonuses of strength +2 and dex +1, that would make our armor class equal to 9 for the Locathah, and it can't go any lower than that. But the other option that we have is the Orc, from Volo's Guide to Monsters, which I mainly picked because of the -2 bonus to intelligence. But that's not the only thing. They also have, I mean, they're made for melee, but we're not going to make a melee character, as you'll soon see. So basically the Orc is the other option if there's, a naval campaign. Intelligence 1 Orc. Go for it. Yeah, next up we'll go over the class, or the classes, rather. We're gonna multi-class here, which, under normal multi-class rules, just whatever. I don't use them. Which I guess is homebrew now that I'm thinking about it, but I don't know. Who cares? Not me, that too. But yeah, we're gonna want to take, this is gonna be the big one here. Gonna want to take 14 levels of Ranger, which I know, ha ha ha, that's the worst character possible. Or the worst class, ha ha, hee hee. But really it is. Like, sure they can be good, but, yeah, only if you use not Xanathar's, which is also helpful, but, if you use Tasha's Guide to Everything just makes the Ranger so much easier and better, honestly. Love Tasha's. Anyways, so at first level, we get Favored Enemy, which gives us a ton of bonuses, to a certain creature type, which again, you're gonna want to ask your DM about. Not like, are there gonna be lots of Celestials, for example, or Constructs, or Fae? Nah, we're gonna ask what kinds of, humanoids there are. And then we're gonna want to pick the ones that for sure don't exist. We're gonna be able to pick 6 of them, because, 14th level, we've gotten, the first level one, the 6th level, and the 14th levels, that's 3. And then we're gonna pick 6 races of humanoid. Because when you pick humanoid, you can only select 2 races. Which can be anything, and I recommend going for, things that don't exist, like, Warforged, or Simic Hybrid, or Vidalcan, or Shifters, or whatever. And then not telling your DM that you're taking these, because he's gonna put them in. You don't want that. Uh, yeah, alternatively, if you run out of ideas for that, you could go for stuff like, Bullywugs, or just really specific, yeah, Bullywugs, that's the main thing, Bullywugs. uh, and yeah, that's that for the favorite enemy. Alternatively, according to my friend, you can apparently go for, Revenants, apparently. From the DM's guide, I think they're from. Oh, it's just a little bonus that you can add to a character. It doesn't matter too much, but if the DM allows it, you can take it, I guess. Next up is Natural Explorer, which you're going to ask your DM about. Which gives you a list of options that you can pick from. In most cases, I think the Underdark will be fairly unused. Alternatively, and for the better, you can ask your DM if you can pick something beyond that. Uh, and if he allows it, or if they allow it rather, go on ahead and just pick something like Pandemonium. Nothing is stopping you from picking the elemental plane of fire. But just go as bizarre as possible with that, and you won't gain any benefits from it. Next up I'm gonna take a drink here, sorry. Yeah. If you couldn't tell, this is all done in one take. Yeah, fighting style. You can take one of those. We're gonna go with dueling. Because we're not using dual wielding. And that is pretty much useless. Next up for spells, we're gonna want to take a few spells here. I tried to pick the worst ones possible, or at least the least useful ones. Let me know. These can probably be changed, it doesn't matter. But, I picked, Alarm, Detect Poison and Disease, Jump, Dark Vision, Find Traps, which is really bad, Locate Animals or Plants, Locate Object, and Protection from Energy. And again, most of those are utility spells, but, how useful are they? How useful are they? As I mentioned earlier, we're going to take the Beastmaster Ranger thing, which gives you an animal companion, which you can make that whatever you want, really. Oh, excuse me. Really? Yeah, you can go for whatever with the Ranger archetype, with your Beast Companion. But I'd recommend going for something like, just something that needs water to live, such as the octopus. There's better options, I'm sure, but octopus. It's the worst one, probably. Oh, I'm dying. Lovely. Next up, we get Primeval Awareness, which you can use your action and expend a spell slot to focus awareness. And then for 1 minute, per level of spell slot, you can sense the following type of creatures as present. Which, honestly, like, it doesn't matter too much. Yeah, it doesn't reveal the creature's location or number, so it's like, oh yes, there is for sure a dragon here. There's for sure an undead, at least one of them. And yeah, we'll go over, what feats we'll be taking, because I'd argue that, that the feats are worse than just taking an ability score improvement, honestly, with what we're gonna take. 5th level, you get extra attack, so you can make 2 attacks, wow. And the next up, you get Land's Stride, which, I mean, honestly, like, if you're, like, depending on the campaign, that will be completely useless. It just allows you to move through non-difficult terrain, or non-magical difficult terrain, which is useful in combat, with no extra movement, but, yeah, at the same time, though, if it's just, like, overworld travel, it's not that helpful, especially when, like, in most cases, whenever the DM is like, wow, there's some danger going on, like, there's some real difficult terrain over here, it's mainly just gonna be, unless it is a survival campaign, from my experience, it's gonna be magical, fully magical, whether that be, like, a magical fog, or magical living plants, because otherwise the DM's just gonna be like, alright, there's a jungle, you get through it easily, just skip right through it. The next up at 10th level, we have Hide in Plain Sight, which just allows you to spend 1 minute to camouflage yourself, basically. You gain a plus 10 bonus to stealth checks if you just don't move, which isn't great, especially when you consider that you can't take actions or move, because then the camouflage is gone and you gotta do it again. Which isn't that great. And then at 14th level, you can just take the hide action as a bonus action, which isn't that great, honestly. Also, you can't be tracked by non-magical means, unless you choose to leave a trail, but even then, yeah. Only giving yourself... Yeah, it's not that great. Honestly, there's nothing more to say, but it's just not good. The next up, we're going to want to take 4 levels of Berserker Barbarian. So far that's 18 levels, and the Barbarian, at 1st level, you get Rage, which, isn't that great. I would recommend maybe maybe finding some heavy armor, because that does fully cancel out the benefits of raging, but, yeah, I mean, I don't believe I did that. Let me double check something here. I should have looked this up beforehand between things. Hold on, let me look up what it is. Don't want to reveal my secrets. Okay, yeah, cool. We're fine then. Alrighty. Okay. Yeah, that is probably the one thing that you might want to do with this build, is wear heavy armor. That could be helpful. Regardless, though, Rage, again, we're not a melee character, especially one that uses, strength, so Rage, completely useless. The same can be said for unarmored defense, because we will be wearing armor, and that just doesn't work. Next up, Reckless Attack, same thing, doesn't work. Danger Sense. You have advantage on dexterity saving throws, which isn't that helpful, against effects that you can see, such as traps and spells, which again, how good are you going to be at seeing things? And then finally, at least, you know, we get an ability score improvement, but yeah. As a Berserker Barbarian, we get Frenzy, which, yeah, basically, whenever you rage, you can frenzy, and you can take a bonus action to make another hit with nothing, because we don't have melee weapons. And also, when your rage ends, you suffer 1 level of exhaustion. Which, yeah, if you haven't seen, I'll link the video down below, but highly recommend watching the Z Bash U video on it, on the Berserker Barbarian, because it is not good, especially with the exhaustion bonus, because that's just terrible. Next up, we have for our last 2 levels, I decided to go for the Sorcerer, specifically the Draconic Sorcerer. For no particular it's mainly just a filler class, for the most part. Yeah. So, for spells, with the Sorcerer, we'll start off with that. We're going to want to take Dancing Lights, Light, Shape Water, and True Strike, which, I will also link it below. True Strike is bad. It's really bad. Then for our first level spells, we're going to take Comprehend Languages, Detect Magic, and Disguise Self. Again, there's probably worse ones out there, but that's the worst that I could find. Yeah, the next up as a Draconic Sorcerer, you do get yourself Draconic, which, is useful, I guess. And then whenever you make a Charisma check when interacting with a dragon, proficiency bonus is doubled. Which, cool, I guess. Cool, cool, cool. But how much are you really going to be interacting with dragons, really, is my question. Yeah, how much? And then you also get Draconic Resilience, which, hit point maximum increases by 1, and increases by 1 again whenever you gain a level in this class, which, we're going to take 2 levels of that. So if we're going to go with the and we are going to go for it, the lowest amount of possible hit points, that gives us to a total of 22. Assuming that we can't take negative or 0. Yeah. Whenever we level. Alright. But yeah, we do also get when you aren't wearing armor, your AC increases, but that doesn't matter. It will not matter. But yeah, that is it for the classes. Next up, we have the feats, that we're gonna take, every 4 levels. And yeah, we're gonna want to take Dungeon Delver, which mainly deals with traps and detecting them, which, not that great. Keen Mind, which does boost your intelligence by 1 point, but, at the same time, gives you some stuff that you can just ask the DM, hey, would my character know X? And he'd probably say, yeah, sure, it's easy to find, or just make a quick roll, easy DC to beat. Durable, which just isn't that useful. Just deals with short rests, just makes it so that you can't gain 1 minimum. And then finally Dual Wielder, which again, as previously mentioned, we are not dual wielding anything. And for the last bit of character we're going to want to take the Charlatan background, which isn't the worst one, but I couldn't really find any that were particularly bad. But I decided to go for the Charlatan in particular because they have the false identity ability, which they just craft a false identity, but how good are you going to be at doing that when you are a fish person who has really bad stats, or an orc who has a 2 in intelligence at this point? Although for the most part they've had 1 this entire time. But yeah, that's the main details. Next up, equipment, I guess. Yeah, and we're gonna want to take a short bow and some arrows, but these aren't going to be normal short bow and arrows. They are going to be rusty. So, walk up to a black pudding or a rust monster and, just have them nibble on your arrows or your bow. And, they do break when they hit a -5 bonus, but, yeah, -4 is looking pretty nice. And the fun thing about bows and arrows is that the bonuses stack. Or rather, in this case, the unbonus. So, when we attempt to strike something with our bow, we have ourselves a -8 bonus to it. To what would we get normally? For the Locathah, you'd have there'd be a -3 bonus to the roll. Although we do have, although we do have our proficiency in it. That's the word. I forgot the word, but then we give ourselves a +6. So we have a +6 -11, which comes out to a -5 to hit. And then that proficiency bonus only works for the to hit. So for damage, we have -8, which 1d6 -8 piercing damage, which again, oh no, there's also the dexterity modifier on that. So again, if we're going with the Locathah, is also a -3. So it's -11. Or if you're going to go with the orc who doesn't have a bonus to dexterity, that's a -6 to hit, and a -12 to damage. Which, yeah, with the orc that cancels out your critical hits, pretty much. And again, unless negative damage is a thing, which I guess is healing, you physically cannot do damage, or at the very least can only do one damage. Yeah, the next step we're going to want to take some armor, which we're also going to make rusty. I went with scale mail, although again, as I mentioned earlier, it might be smart to go for something that is heavy armor, just to get rid of rage fully. But yeah, we're gonna want to go with that, with rusty scale mail. That's what I went for. Which, -4 bonus to AC. Let me pull out scale mail again. Let me pull out the stats for that because I forgot what they are. Scale mail. Not scrolling through that list because that is gonna take an eternity. Scale mail. Here we are. Which is a 14. It can get up to 16 with the dex modifier. However, yeah, we don't have that. So at base, actually, if you're going with the Locathah, the natural armor of that they have does kick in. So we have a 9 AC for them. However, if you're playing with an orc, yeah. So base 14 for the scale mail, since this is -4 for the scale mail, that's 10 minus dexterity modifier, which is a -4, so that would be 6. Your AC is 6. Yeah, and that is pretty much it, honestly. Let me know in the comments below. There's probably a worse thing out there, but I think I've made a fairly useless character that can't really do too much. Yeah, let me know if I have. Let me know your own character builds down below. I'll take a look at them. Maybe they're better, or better as in worse. But yeah, this has been a fun little experiment. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Be sure to do all the YouTube-y things, like subscribing and checking out the links in the description. And yeah, have a great night, guys. Yeah. Yeah.